Hello there, I'm Haylena Krishnamoorthy and thanks for joining me this Friday. Top stories. Government and BNM working to ease housing loan terms and conditions. 8 arrested for recording Avengers Endgame in cinema. Malaysia stands to benefit from China's Belt and Road Initiative, says Prime Minister. We begin tonight's bulletin with this story. An unemployed man was sentenced to death by the Shah Alam High Court after he was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend's daughter 3 years ago. In passing the sentence, Judge Dato Abdul Halim ruled that the prosecution had proven a prima facie case against the accused. 25-year-old Aizat Abdullah Othman allegedly murdered Hana Sufia Muhammad Adib at only 19 months old at an apartment in Puchong on March 31, 2016. The charge under 302 of the Penal Code provides the mandatory death penalty upon conviction. During the trial, one of the witnesses told the court how Aizat Abdullah punched the child on her stomach and slammed her to the wall. It was reported that Hana Sufia died from bleeding to the head and other severe injuries after being thrown on the floor. A chief executive officer and a company advisor have been remanded for 4 days for allegedly bribing the enforcement officers of a ministry. The remand order was issued by Magistrate Shahwira Abdul Halim until April 29 to assist the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, into its investigation. The 49-year-old female CEO with a Dato' Sri title and the other with a Dato' title were alleged to have abetted to bribe the ministry's enforcement officer as a reward for not taking action against them. The company had been carrying out deposit collecting activities for a bogus investment in July 2017. On Thursday, the MACC had detained the CEO at its headquarters while the 55-year-old advisor was arrested in Duta Mas Raya, Kuala Lumpur. At least 157 illegal foreigners were arrested in an operation carried out by the Immigration Department at the Kuala Lumpur wholesale market this morning. The 3 a.m. operation, dubbed Ops Bersepadu, was focused on weeding out immigrants running businesses illegally. Many of the illegals were caught by surprise when the authorities arrived, with some trying to flee but failed. Checks revealed that all of them, many of whom are refugees, did not have a valid document and had overstayed. All those detained are from Indonesia, Myanmar, India and Bangladesh. Immigration Department Director General Datuk Khairul Zaimi Daud said the operation was also aimed at penalizing employers that employed illegals. Between January and early April, a total of 930 illegal immigrants were arrested through similar operations carried out nationwide. Datuk Khairul Zaimi added, while most of them were employed as workers, many were also found to own businesses through licenses obtained from locals. To address the situation, immigration enforcement officers have been stationed on the ground for periodical monitoring and to carry out continuous crackdown on the illegals. And police have crippled a drug trafficking syndicate with the cooperation of their Thai counterparts following 3 separate raids in Kedah and Penang. Bukit Aman Narcotics CID Acting Director Datuk Kamarul Zaman Mamat said 5 individuals were arrested and 302,000 ringgit worth of drugs seized in the operation on Wednesday. Those arrested were believed to be members of the Ma'il Brothers gang. In the first 2 raids, 2 men and 2 women in their 30s were picked up on Jalan Langgar, Alostar and Kuala Nerang, Kedah, where 90 pieces of compacted drugs believed to be ganja were also recovered. The 3rd raid was conducted at a house in Permatang Pao, Penang, where police picked up a 65-year-old man believed to be the leader of the group.
Keseluruhan rampasan ada 116 ketulan mampat disaki ganja dan anggaran berat lebih kurang 115.6 kg. Dan nilai rampasan ini dianggarkan bernilai 302,000 RM. Dan telah selain daripada itu, beberapa harta telah disita dan kita akan terus menyita harta-harta pengedar Amerika ini, itu sebuah produk Myvi dan juga berbagai barang kemas.
Police also found 26 pieces of compacted ganja in the house, with the suspect screening positive for drugs and was found to have past criminal records. All the suspects were remanded until May 1st to assist investigations under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act. And elsewhere, police nabbed a 33-year-old Indonesian man in Klang, Selangor for allegedly attempting to smuggle 8 kilograms of shabu worth 576,000 ringgit in herbal tea packs. Klang Selatan Police Chief ACP Shamsul Amar Ramli said the suspect, who tested positive for drugs, was arrested in a raid at a hotel in Port Klang yesterday. Initial investigations revealed the suspect has valid travel documents and had entered the country by sea on April 18. It was also believed that the suspect was using Malaysia as a transit point before smuggling the drugs back to his home country.
Harga di sana ada 3 kali ganda berbanding harga di Malaysia. That's why rangkaian ataupun sedikit ni banyak bawa ke sana. Anggaran harga dadah semasa jenis shabu adalah 70,000 per kilo.
Authorities are still investigating the source of the drugs to determine whether it was purchased from local or international syndicates. The suspect was remanded until April 30th to assist investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act. Now, one of the most prominent commercials we see at the cinema is the one warning us against capturing footage of the movie. But that didn't stop this group of cinema goers. 8 people got themselves arrested last night after they were caught red-handed recording parts of Marvel's Avengers Endgame with their smartphones in a cinema at a Kuala Lumpur mall. No penalties were imposed against the 8 individuals. However, they were given a warning and were ordered to erase all recordings and photos on their phones before they were released. In an effort to clamp down on piracy, 10 officers were dispatched as part of an operation to snuff out potential pirates, where they monitored 21 halls from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. yesterday in the cinema that was screening the blockbuster. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Ministry, KPD and HGP Chief Enforcement Officer Azim Nazuri said prior to catching the offenders, the officers also went into the halls before screenings began to remind viewers against recording movies in theatres.
Pemeriksaan ini dijalankan dengan kerjasama pihak industri dalam mendidik dan memberi peringatan kepada pengguna supaya tidak sewenang-wenangnya membuat rakaman ataupun membuat Facebook secara live dalam media sosial. Pengguna perlu faham bahawa hak cipta perlu dihormati dan dilindungi.
However, Azim said future offenders may not be as lucky, as those found guilty could be fined up to 100,000 ringgit or face up to 5 years jail time or both. He added more checks will be conducted periodically at cinemas in popular shopping malls nationwide. Malaysia has expressed full support for China's Belt and Road Development Strategy. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said this today in a clear show of the country's commitment for China's ambitious move to redefine the global economy. According to him, this as Malaysia stands to benefit from the massive infrastructure projects under the initiative. Speaking during the high-level meeting of the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation at the China National Convention Center in Beijing, the Prime Minister said the Belt and Road Initiative is a great idea and can bring the landlocked countries of Central Asia closer to the sea.
The Silk Road, the land passage between East and West, has not received as much attention as the sea passage. Yet it must be obvious that with modern technologies, the passage can be improved. Just as the massive trade by ships has spawned the development of huge bulk carriers, the land passage should also respond to the need of the increased trade between East and West.
The Premier, who is on a 5-day working visit to China, was among the few leaders who were given the opportunity to address the forum. Chinese President Xi Jinping, who mooted the idea of the Belt and Road Initiative, opened the forum that was attended by 37 world leaders and 5,000 representatives from more than 150 countries across the globe. Xi proposed his signature infrastructure policy 6 years ago to revive the ancient Silk Road trade routes linking Asia and other parts of the world through rail, airports, pipelines and other means. Tun Dr. Mahathir, who described the meeting as the most important forum, also called for the passageways along the Belt and Road routes to be safeguarded and to be open and free for all. Dr. Mahathir was also invited by China's SenseTime Group Limited to tour its Artificial Intelligence AI Demonstration Center in Zhongguan Chun Science Park, Beijing. The Premier and his delegation received a first-hand experience of the latest AI technologies and their application in safe city solutions, as well as other technologies including autonomous driving and remote sensing. Following the tour, Malaysia G3 Global Berhad inked memorandums of understanding with SenseTime and another Chinese firm, China Harbour Engineering Company Limited, in relation to their collaboration on setting up an AI park in Malaysia. The park will serve as the platform for the development of AI solutions in the areas of computer vision, speech recognition, natural language, and humanoid or robotics. The parties aim to invest a total of $1 billion or about 4.15 billion ringgit in the project. And the government and Bank Negara Malaysia are working to ease the terms and conditions for housing loans without affecting the stability of the financial system. In his speech at the launch of the Home Ownership Campaign HOC Malaysia Property Expo in Kuala Lumpur today, Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said the ministry would take action if it receives any report from developers on housing loan applications being rejected without strong justifications.
If you have difficulty getting loans, refer to the MOF, Ministry of Finance. We will then check with Bank Negara and the banks why you are not giving loan. Because we want banks to encourage loan lending. And we have told Dato' Som and Dato' Ng, give us the list. If banks refuse to give loans, give us the list, we will check with the banks. If they are justified, we will let go. If it's not justified, not only will ask the banks to give loan, we may consider action why they deliberately refuse to give loans.
He added that the ministry would forward the reports to Bank Negara to be investigated and for the central bank to assist those affected in obtaining housing loans. Meanwhile, in conjunction with the HOC, Lim said buyers of residential properties priced between 300,000 and 2.5 million ringgit would be able to enjoy stamp duty exemptions on the instrument of transfer for properties. This includes 100% stamp duty exemption being applicable for the first 1 million ringgit of the purchase price. Parti Bersatu Sabah PBS today named its Vice President and former two-term Member of Parliament, Dato' Linda Sen Tao Lin, as its candidate for the Sandakan Parliamentary by-election. The party's president, Dato' Sri Dr. Maximus Ongkili, who made the announcement today, said the move was made as the 63-year-old ex-Batu Sapi MP has a proven track record.
Kita tidak mau suara Sandakan tidak didengar. Okay. Dan kerja dan tugas macam itu bukan untuk pemimpin yang baru mau mulai berpolitik. Ya. Bukan yang baru mau untested, okay, baru mau coba-coba. Dia memerlukan pemimpin yang sudah teruji. Okay, bersatu.
The party said it would pursue pertinent issues, namely the Malaysia Agreement 1963, as well as security and development matters that affect the livelihood of the people. He also said that PBS has the support of other political parties like Parti Solidariti Tanah Airku or STAR, Sabah Progressive Party SAPP, United Sabah National Organisation USNO, as well as UMNO and MCA in the by-election. Sen was elected the Batu Sapi MP in a by-election in 2010 following the death of the incumbent then Dato Edmund Chong Ket Wah, who was also her husband. Yesterday, the DAP named 30-year-old Vivian Wong Sher Yee as its candidate for the by-election, which was necessitated by the death of the MP, who is also Sher Yee's father, Dato Stephen Wong, on March 28th. Coming up, how far would you go to express your anger? Details next. Thanks for staying with us. The body of one of the two toughest students who went missing while bathing in a river at Simpang Renggam near Kluang yesterday was found early this morning. The search and rescue team found the body of Muhammad Amar Mazeni, aged 13, stuck in grass in the river in Kampung Chokro, about 2 kilometers from the last spot he was seen bathing. The body was sent to the Encik Besar Haja Kalsum Hospital while the search continues for another victim, 16-year-old Muhammad Danish Mirzan Muhammad Said. Yesterday, both victims from Sekolah Tahfiz Asidik Gufran in Simpang Renggam were bathing with 6 friends but were swept off by strong river currents. The Penang government should build a new state assembly building located within a new administrative centre to provide better services to the people. Yang di-Pertua Negeri Tun Abdul Rahman Abbas, who suggested the matter, said this was needed to replace the ageing complex Tun Abdul Razak or Komtar, which has served as the state administrative centre since 1986.
Serangan ini diusulkan dengan mengambil kira insiden kebakaran yang berlaku baru-baru ini dan telah menimbulkan suasana panik, kurang selesa dan lain-lain kelemahan yang sangat ketara. Keperluan ruang kerja baru dengan mengambil kira keperluan pertambahan kaki tangan jabatan-jabatan kerajaan juga menjadi faktor tambahan untuk pembiayaan pusat pentadbiran yang baru selari dengan pembangunan semasa.
Tun Abdul Rahman said this when opening the State Assembly sitting at Dewan Sri Penang this morning. On April 5th, staff members of government agencies at Komtar were evacuated after a fire alarm went off at around 2:45 p.m. Several state government leaders, including Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow, were among those who evacuated the building. The Education Ministry is looking into rebranding technical and vocational education and training or TVET program. This includes the possibility of changing its name to be more appealing.
Bagi kita, TVET, atas nama hanya pun mungkin kita terpaksa ubahlah. Bila sebut TVET ni, dia bakal sebut vocational, dia bukanlah sesuatu yang dilihat tinggi. Walau bagaimanapun kita perlu hargai dan perlu hadapi bahawa kemahiran manusia berbeza dan ada orang yang boleh cemerlang melalui TVET. Maka komitmen Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia adalah untuk kita mengangkat TVET supaya ianya menjadi pilihan arus perdana juga.
He was speaking to reporters at an event organised by the ministry to announce 3 new initiatives that will be undertaken by community colleges. The 3 new initiatives are the ACES, Maker Market and Pondok Perdana, which are aimed at enhancing the quality of education in the country. Through these initiatives, Mazli said community colleges would also provide certificate and diploma programs to students. The names of the likely successor to Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi Harun, who is retiring as Inspector General of Police, have been submitted to the Prime Minister several weeks ago. Home Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, however, declined to reveal any details, including how many names that were submitted.
Nama telah pun saya kebukakan pada Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri beberapa minggu yang lalu. Jadi biasanya Perdana Menteri meneliti show dan cadangan kita. Kalau dia nak buat apa-apa perubahan itu hak Perdana Menteri sebelum dia mengangkatnya kepada Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Jadi lepas tu bila dia sudah berkenan, barulah perubahan akan dilakukan dan orang kata ya penggantinya akan ditentukan.
He was speaking to reporters after launching the Johor Level 47th anniversary celebrations of the People's Volunteers Corps or RELA in Muar today. Tan Sri Muhammad Fuzi, who will be 60 on May 4th, is retiring on May 2nd. It was reported that Acting Deputy Inspector General of Police, Datuk Sri Abdul Hamid Bador, is expected to take over his position as the top cop. And now let's hop on to our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. The latest in a string of consumer protests in China, a woman thought she could seek compensation, or more accurately revenge, on car maker BMW over an accident she was involved in by going to the company showroom and plonking her body on the bonnet of one of the new brand cars. Here's the story.
According to a report by the South China Morning Post, the woman was angry as allegedly because the airbags in her X1 SUV did not inflate in an accident resulting in injuries. Additionally, she claimed that the dealership had asked her to pay a financial service fee of 8,000 yuan or $1,200. One of the staff reportedly said that the customer could have talked to them nicely and there was no need for her to sit on the car. The staff at the Baode Automotive Sales Service in Danyang, Jiangsu were then forced to call the police after it was discovered that her antiques reportedly damaged the bonnet of one of the showroom cars. The protest, which was caught on camera, has since gone viral on Chinese social media, with many slamming both the woman's weight and the hood's durability.
Netizens are always down for a good challenge, but recently a tricky photo that has been making rounds on the internet is probably pushing it a little too far. On Monday, a Twitter user quizzed his followers to identify just one item from a bunch of items shown in a photograph. Sounds like an easy task indeed, but take a look at it yourself. This fascinating image, which has gained over 75,000 likes and 32,000 retweets, has stirred Twitter users in a pot of confusion, not to mention other netizens who have seen it being shared on other platforms. A Reddit user has claimed that the image is designed to give the viewer a simulated experience of having a stroke, adding that everything looks hauntingly familiar, yet one just can't quite recognize anything from it. When we return, thousands evacuated as Cyclone Kenneth sweeps through Mozambique. Stay with us.
Weekend getaway? I want to stay in the heart of the city and enjoy my espresso at breakfast. Summer vacation. Every trip is unique and your hotel should be too. With Trivago, you can select what you want from your hotel and find the ideal one for you. Hotel Trivago.
난 진짜 바다 건너 제주도 빼곤 안 살아본 곳이 없어. 매번 돈 사고 치는 아버지 때문에 하도 이사를 많이 다녀서 동네에 정을 붙인다는 게 무슨 말인지 몰랐어. 근데 정이 들었어, 이 동네는.
그래도 여기 봄 되면 꽤 괜찮아. 꽃도 많이 피고.
그럼 같이 보자.
Best of the Escape, The Light in Your Eyes. Mulai 1 Mei, setiap Rabu dan Kamis, 10.30 malam, hanya di 8TV.
We're back with foreign news. Sri Lankans of all faiths are being urged to pray privately amid fears of further attacks as the country's security forces are still hunting down individuals who are believed to be linked to Daesh. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena on Friday said 70 people have been arrested, while security forces are still tracking down some 140 others who are believed to be involved with the extremist group. Sri Lanka's Minister for Muslim Religious Affairs, Abdul Halim, urged the community not to gather for Friday prayers at local mosques, but to pray inside their homes. Late on Thursday, the country's health minister revised down the death toll to 253 people from 359 earlier. Since the attacks, the country's politicians have admitted to intelligence lapses that might have prevented the coordinated bombings. Sri Sena has also asked for the resignation of the country's defense secretary and police chief for their failure to prevent the deadly serial bombings, despite having intelligence inputs about the attacks. Security services are now taking steps to ensure that no potential terrorist was on the loose, saying that a second wave of attacks was not likely now, but a concern in coming months. National Tawhid Jamaat, a domestic extremist group, has been identified as the perpetrator of the Easter Sunday bombings, but has not claimed the attacks. Daesh, in the meantime, has claimed responsibility for the attacks, but that link has not been proven. Another cyclone has hit the edge of Southeast Africa. Barely a month after superstorm swept through Mozambique and left hundreds dead, another powerful storm, Cyclone Kenneth, is now smashing into the country with powerful winds and heavy rain. Kenneth has caused storm surges of up to 5 meters in some areas, and rains associated with it could cause serious flooding and landslides. Mozambique's government has evacuated 30,000 people from areas likely to be hit by the cyclone, with the country's National Institute of Disaster Management preparing food supplies to assist 140,000 people for 15 days. It also reported one person was killed by a falling coconut tree at Pemba in Cabo Delgado Friday. Some parts of the city are already in darkness. Prior to reaching Mozambique, Kenneth killed 3 people in the island nation of Comoros on Wednesday night. I'm Haylena Krishnamoorthy. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend ahead.